household names and has contributed to the evolution of SEP's UX practice. He previously worked and later purchased a marketing agency where he served as the creative director. Chris was also 2021 Indie Design Week speaker and workshop facilitator. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, thank you. Cool. Today I'm going to talk about stories. Stories have been around for hundreds of years, and that they were the foundation of our communication long before written word. And specifically to the, let me step back a second here. So we know that storytelling has all of these different facets and components, and what I really want to zoom into today is this little bit over here. That is the stories that we tell ourselves, and these can be these can be all different kinds of stories that we'll jump into in just a minute. But before we do that, I think it's important that we kind of acknowledge where we're all arriving today, and we're all arriving at a different place of this. Some of us may know and can acknowledge that we're telling ourselves a story about a particular situation, but today the goal is just to increase that awareness. So we all tell ourselves stories every day, many times a day, and sometimes those stories are about ourselves. Sometimes those may be about other people. They could be about different situations that we have just experienced or that we're going to experience in the future, and we have certain feelings about those. These stories can definitely add fun in our lives. These stories can also act as armor. So if you've heard of Brene Brown before, she describes armor as the way that we self-protect ourselves when we are in an uncomfortable situation. These stories also have the opportunity to have an impact on us, whether that is, that can range from a positive to a negative impact on our mental health, physical health, and even socially. So I want to pause for a minute and think about a time when you told yourself a story that ended up turning out differently than what you thought it might. This could be about a presentation, about a certain moment in life. And I want you to think about how you felt during that moment. And hold on to that feeling, because we're going to revisit it in just a few minutes here. So as I told myself a story leading up to this many times, even just as I was walking over here. So I ran the opposite direction of public speaking for a very long time. I've been an anxious person my entire life, and also grew up with a pretty gnarly speech impediment. So if you can imagine that combination, there's a lot of self-doubt and other things like that are included in that story that I've told myself over the years. And if we're not mindful of the stories and how they exist, these stories can run wild. So as I've found myself in these different situations, I find that I've taken one of two paths. The first is to armor up and prepare for the worst. So this is me trying to protect myself and telling the story that this will have the worst possible outcome, even if it may or may not. There's the constant feelings of the what ifs. What if this happens, and it's me trying to prepare for any potential thing to happen, and it can often feel like this. And throughout the early parts of my career, this armor held me in place, and I thought that it was protecting me and allowing me to like move through life how I wanted to. But I recently realized that it barely allowed me to move at all. It just really held me in place. The other path that I've recently became aware of, I guess, is instead of armoring up when any scenario happens, to really seek to understand the person, the situation, and try to remove the subjectivity of it all. And really, this involves leaning into the courage and being vulnerable in these situations. I also ask a lot of questions, asking for clarity, and it's really helped me to not only learn how I want to show up for my team, but also but also the other way around. So in these scenarios, we need to think about what can we control. I think early in my career, this is what I thought, that I could just handle it all, no questions asked. But really what I've found is that as I've come into awareness and acceptance of it, it's really just acknowledging it and being at peace with it. Because there are so many things out of our control, and the more that we worry about those things, the more hindrance, I guess, we have in our day-to-day lives. So things that we can control on a day-to-day basis are our thoughts, our actions, and our behavior. So let's jump into a couple quick examples here. How many, by the raise of hands, how many people have gotten a message from somebody that's like this? And how did you feel when you got this? Nervous? Sure. Yeah. There are some very real feelings that have been informed by our past experiences. And younger Chris would have, again, armored up and prepared for the worst. Maybe I was in trouble. Maybe I was, just preparing for any possible scenario, because the worst had actually happened in the past. And again, one way that we can approach these types of messages is asking for clarity, just to give that helps us to set expectations for ourselves, as well as try to be better prepared for whatever this conversation might entail. And that I'm not at all trying to say that these are easy conversations to have, because there's definitely a lot of courage and vulnerability that we have to act on in these situations. Now, if you have, the first example is a more general example, but if you have a potentially tighter knit relationship with this person, you can bring them on and say what you're thinking and how you're feeling, and just to communicate that. And that is one thing that I am not very good at, but we talk about this a lot in my coaching sessions. I used to be a one-person team, so there was not a lot of communication outlet. It was all, I have this thing to do, now I need to do it. And bringing people along is probably one of the things I'm working on the most right now. So here's another example. I raise of hands how many people have gotten an invite like this. And again, how do these feel, whether it's from a client or anybody else? Yep. So in this example, compared to the other, there are a lot more things that are out of our control. Even if we ask for that kind of clarity, depending on the various timing and whatnot, we may not even get the clarity that we asked for. So in this example, it's important to come back and think about, what can I control here? I can control my thoughts and my behavior as well as my actions. And in this scenario, I like to approach these meetings and invites with curiosity. So really trying to understand their objective and leading without the armor up, I guess is a better way to put it. And so taking a look at the examples that I've shared here, I wanted to leave you guys with some tangible steps. So first is being more aware of the stories that we are crafting. So this might be a brand new topic. For others, it might be familiar, but overall, just small increments of, hey, I just got on a hard meeting and I'm feeling that I didn't show up in the way that I wanted to. And instead of potentially walking away from that and not addressing it, and walking from the meeting room back to my desk, I'm telling myself a particular story about that, and just becoming more aware of it is the first step. So next that I found incredibly helpful is taking a deep breath. If you've heard of box breathing, this is one thing that helps me out a whole lot. So if you're not familiar with it, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, exhale for 4. You should repeat this 2 or 3 times. I find that it really helps to steer me back to where I want to be. And the third and final thing here again is to bring people along. This is what I'm again working on the most, and if you are aware of it, if you are aware of the stories that you're telling yourself, and you can articulate that, you can also communicate that to the people involved. And you may even, by bringing people in, you may help to inform and encourage others to do the same. And that's it.